There's something I'm supposed to be doing.
Oh, yeah. Miles to go. Little Miss Muffet counting down from 730.
Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening by Robert Frost. Whose woods these are, I think I know. His house is in the village, though. He will not see me stopping here to watch his woods fill up with snow. My little horse must think it queer to stop without a farmhouse near, between the woods and frozen lake, the darkest evening of the year. He gives his harness bells a shake to ask if there is some mistake. The only other sound's the sweep of easy wind and downy flake. The woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep, and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep. Buffy is lying in bed, oddly restless, see what I did there, and leaves Riley for an impromptu Slayer session. She now looks like a max-leveled character killing monsters in the first zone. One of the things I've always found most memorable about this episode is the musical theme when Buffy is hunting in the opening. Strings plus drums get me all psyched up and want to go running. Kind of. Well, thinking about running. Maybe doing a push-up. Buffy gets her fill of monster hunting and returns home, now able to get a proper night's sleep. Cue credits, and oh boy, is it good to be back at this. The gang is taking a beach day, and Buffy and Riley produce my favorite gif.
Anybody ever told Team U the quarterback throws like a girl?
I do?
So, are you girls taking intro psych, or do you just want me dead?
You really have a lot to learn about women, Riley.
You're gonna teach me.
The day is spoiled by an impromptu storm. The storm heralds the arrival of Dracula, with a musical stinger setting the tone of pure camp. I've heard that one more than the Wilhelm scream. At Casa de Giles, Willow and Giles are digitizing his library. Hopefully they learned their lesson after season 1, and Giles reveals big news.
See, I'm going back to England.
That evening, as Buffy goes ham on this vampire's face, Dracula shows up and they make introductions.
Do you know what a Slayer is?
Do you?
The confidence with which he rebuffs her sarcasm momentarily takes Buffy aback. The gang shows up, Xander standing there with his iced latte is just an insane juxtaposition, and Drac, sensing how gauche everyone is, goes batty. The implications of making him an actual part of the Buffyverse are kind of mind-bending. Drac has actual Drac powers, and Buffy shares the news with the gang. Riley is feeling a little insecure about the undead, again.
I couldn't believe it the first 20 times you told us, but it's starting to sink in now.
Tara and Xander are also feeling a little jealous, and Riley and Xander suggest they go hunting immediately. Buffy and Giles choose caution, and the team breaks for the evening.
And maybe I should just let you get your rest.
Maybe if you just lie down with me?
Nothing you are about to say will lead to rest.
Dracula makes Xander his minion.
You are strange and off-putting. Go now.
Riley pumps Spike for information about Dracula. What? And Spike reveals how Dracula fits in the Buffyverse.
He has special powers, right?
Nothing but showy gypsy stuff.
So Dracula is vampire plus warlock, essentially. Spike, always with the Yoko factoring, knows where the knife is in Riley and how to twist it.
So you're saying I should check out mansions, that sort of thing?
I'm saying you should go home to your super honey. Have a nice, safe snog.
Misty Dracula doesn't need an invitation to get into Buffy's room to have a sultry off. Drac discovers Buffy's angel/master scar, but neither of them make clear who they're talking about.
You have been tasted.
He was
Unworthy.
Drac isn't jealous of previous tasters. This is getting weird. Drac bites Buffy, appearing to do so using some kind of mind mojo. The next day, Buffy badly hides her vampire Hickey, her Vicky, as Xander badly hides his new man crush.
Like any of that's enough to fight the Dark Master. Bader.
Willow's new choice of lipstick color after crushing on Drac a bit in the previous scene feels particularly evocative. Xander eats a spider, and even though the shot is accomplished with 2 cuts, it still gives me a Wiggins. Isn't that spider a little much for Southern California? Riley stops Buffy on her way out to get Dracula and discovers her secret.
You're under the thrall of the Dark Prince.
The gang tries to keep Buffy safe from herself, but Xander takes her to Dracula.
I'm supposed to deliver you to the Master now. There's this whole deal where I gotta be immortal.
Buffy and Drac, apparently House Baratheon, talk about how Buffy's power is rooted in darkness and she's a creature of the night. He offers her his arm and says something a little familiar.
You think you know what you are, what's to come. You haven't even begun.
Drac offers her a taste. Buffy sees visions of the first Slayer and snaps out of her reverie. Drac's mind mojo stops working.
You know, I really think the thrall has gone out of our relationship.
They fight, Buffy wins, kind of, and has a conversation with Giles, reassuring him that she really does need him. And the episode ends when Buffy stops home and Joyce suggests she take Dawn out.
Mom!
I mean, I get it. I would resent being my sister's throw-in task as well. Buffy vs. Dracula is a fun episode, but has never been high on my list of favorites. In fairness, none of the season openers have. Table setting while cleaning up from the previous meal is never an easy thing. Also not helping things for me and my personal proclivities is the show's portrayal of the Dark Prince. From the opening musical stinger, Dracula is just absolutely drenched in campy. This may be the most Scooby-Doo episode that has ever zoinked its way on Buffy. The episode is, of course, loaded with references to Dracula lore, Xander becoming Dracula's servant, eating bugs, being weird. While Buffy is the actual Van Helsing of the Buffyverse, the tropey parallel here is Giles, with Buffy and Riley being Mina and Jonathan. It's cute and fun, and I get it. Campy just isn't for me. But surrounding Dracula is an episode operating with a lot of the comedic confidence and chemistry that we saw in Season 4. Say what you will about that season's arc, and I said quite a bit. It was by far the funniest and most visually self-assured season so far. And all of that is on display here. Xander's stint as the thrall guy has some great moments, and Giles getting seduced by the 3 sisters is pure joy.
Tickles.
Buffy reaching out to Giles for new watchering closes his open loop from the previous season and restores some purpose, and Xander's butt-monkey syphilitic speech is maybe his greatest moment of confidence since graduation day. And that's pretty much all I ever thought of this one. Mostly just kind of forgettable, especially in comparison to other openers like Anne and the Freshman. Unless... See, there was this one thing that kept bothering me about this episode, and that was Drac's mind mojo. This is the second time that a mind mojo has worked on Buffy and subsequently stopped working.
You have fruit punch mouth.
What?
And when outlining this essay, it kind of got me to thinking, what if there's more going on in this one than the comedic surface might suggest? What if, instead of reading Buffy vs. Dracula so cleanly as an opener, we read it as a continuation from Restless? Quick refresher, Buffy's dream in Restless consisted of her waking up in bed with her friends nowhere to be seen, Tara making cryptic references to Dawn, Joyce being covered over by her new life and Buffy leaving her, Riley acting strange, untrustworthy, calling her killer and then leaving her, and the first Slayer telling Buffy that the Slayer is nothing but death. As much as Buffy spoke confidently to the first Slayer, part of Buffy's inability to sleep in this episode may have been brought on by the fact that the Slayer power inside of her is of a thing that she does not yet truly know and understand. She may have mastered the use of it, but does she know where it came from, or truly understand its essence?
I'm the good guy, remember?
Perhaps, but your power is rooted in darkness. You must feel it.
Let's also not forget that in Restless, each Scooby's dream versions of each other behaved in the way that Scooby subconsciously perceived them.
I'm cowboy guy.
So, bearing those things in mind and taking another look at Buffy vs. Dracula, the episode opens and closes with Buffy experiencing a certain amount of anxiety over who she is. In the opening, she finds catharsis by going out and killing things, and in the closing, she finds it by reaching for her connections.
I need you to be my watcher again.
When she meets Drac, his confidence seems to indicate to her that he has knowledge about the Slayer power that she does not.
Do you know what a slayer is?
Do you?
What about that mind mojo? Well, in Prophecy Girl, it was never completely clear why the Masters stopped working on her. Metaphorically, it made sense because she'd embraced growing up and wasn't going to be controlled by the literal manifestation of what she feared adulthood might be. But it was never made literally clear why his magic stopped working. But in this episode, Dracula spills the beans.
Do you know why you cannot resist?
Because you're famous?
because you do not want to.
Yes, spoken by the camptastic Casanova Drac, that's just supposed to be sleazeball speak for Durher, you know you want it. But what if he is explaining the way the mind mojo actually works, and is right, but for the wrong reasons? Buffy can't resist him because she wants to know what he knows about the Slayer power. She admits later in the episode that Dracula knows more about her power than she does. Once she has the sexy vamp taste of what he's trying to show her, which doesn't bring her any information she doesn't already have, boom, thrall broken. This at least partially explains why the Master's thrall broke over her as well. Buffy's father figure had told her that she was going to face the Master and she would die. She chose to go and face the Master. It's not that she wanted the thrall to work, but she wanted to be the Slayer that was prophesized. When she had fulfilled that prophecy and integrated it into her identity, there was nothing to want for anymore except the Master dead, and so the thrall died. When considering vampire mythology in a bubble, there is a sexual assault metaphor to blood-sucking with a victim and a perpetrator, so this might seem a little victim-blamey a thing to put forward. But the Buffyverse has shown us that things aren't always that simple, and Buffy is not just anyone. She is Van Helsing, as much a character of myth as vampires themselves. The normal metaphorical rules do not always apply to her, and I find the idea of her playing Drac for information kind of interesting. But if Buffy is playing Dracula, then she's also playing everyone else in this episode. The simplest explanation is that considering Spike confirmed Dracula's reputation, she may have wanted to suss out who in the group he'd made his minion. But the reading does put her conduct with Riley this episode in a curious light. Having spent more time mulling it over, I think Buffy vs. Dracula may now be one of my favorite season openers. Second only to Anne. There is a shocking amount of foreshadowing in this one, and it does an unexpectedly elegant job of setting up some of the themes that we're going to be grappling with for the next 20 episodes. Yes, Drac is still silly. It's heavy on comedy and light on the pain and melodrama that we all secretly really love. But that might come. Who knows what the season will bring? At the very least, after seasons of being on the back burner, we can hope that Dawn will finally get some development.